So there are opportunities, and if you extrapolate out and you look at the fact that solar energy, as a rule, with all of this innovation, new technologies coming in every day, cheaper technologies that are based on the same technologies that are used for flat screen TVs are now being applied to the solar energy industry. Technologies out in the desert that can concentrate sunlight in high concentrations, tens or hundreds or even thousands of times onto very high efficiency solar cells that are expensive in their materials, but if you can concentrate 3,000 times on them, all of a sudden things get really cheap really fast. Lots of innovations. People trying to figure out how to incorporate this into the new building. People trying to figure out how to incorporate this into flexible materials that can be put into roofing material when you lay down a new roof. People that can put it into paint so that the painted siding on your house or perhaps even your car can generate photoelectricity. The innovation is staggering, and when you really dig down and you see all of the different approaches, the 135 companies that we track that are trying to do just thin film technologies, the second generation of solar technologies, the 45 concentrating solar companies that all are at some stage of near commercialization or full commercialization. Sometimes it's difficult to figure out precisely who's going to win, but I'm pretty sure that there is enough smart people among that pool that they are going to succeed in driving costs down at the 6 to 7% per annum rate that they have over time. And when you start looking at solar energy prices or any of the other energy prices of any other technologies falling at 6 to 7% per annum, and the cost of grid electricity or the cost of oil going up 3 to 4 to 5% per annum, something that might seem twice as expensive today in 5 years is the same price. In 10 years is half the price. In 15 or 20 years could be as low as a quarter of the price. And now imagine that you're in a world where solar is a quarter of the price of the electricity that it displaces on your home or your business, or solar-powered solar electricity that can fill your plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, or electrolyzed hydrogen to put into your fuel cell vehicle is now your best economic option. And we have enough sunlight hitting the planet for many thousands of times our daily annual consumption. All of a sudden things don't look the same as they did before. It's not about big central station plants that are generating and belching smoke and carbon dioxide. It's about solar everywhere and cheaper than the best solutions and clean. That's the kind of innovation. And it's not so hard to think about when you think that solar is just a semiconductor. Solar is the same thing that you find in a memory chip, perhaps in one of your thumb drives or some variant of a semiconductor that you've seen come out that's in another type of device, a computer or a cell phone. And the transformations that we're going to witness in solar and many of the other renewable energy industries is precisely the same transformation that we've seen in exactly those industries. Does anybody remember rotary dial telephones? Does anybody actually remember having to talk to an operator on the other end? I actually don't remember that, but I do remember the dial-y things. I think my grandfather's first phone number in South Georgia was 23 or something, but we went from a partially automated world to an automated world to a centralized world with big switching stations and then something happened. Somebody figured out how to make a wireless solid-state device that could move the processing power away from the middle of the network and out to the ends. And so now we all have cell phones, and the whole network is distributed. It's a whole lot more robust. It's a little crackly sometimes, but we get the job done. Computers are the same thing. It used to be a very manually information processing, and my father is a small business accountant and still has the old ledger paper. It was a very manual process. He got a computer. I computerized his business. That was one of my first forays into technological consulting. When I was 15, and he went to computer computers, and the computers were large and central in mainframes, and now we all have laptops and wireless laptops, and frankly I can do more on my cell phone from a computing standpoint than I could on my first TRS-80 color computer. So the world doesn't look the same. As it's not just a linear extrapolation. We don't all end up with Cray supercomputers. It goes everywhere. It becomes part of our lives in a way that we couldn't have imagined 15 or 20 years ago. That's the kind of innovation. It's not just technical innovations. It's innovations around the way that we live. Now, the answer for, is nice, and it's easy to do in the abstract, and it's easy to do at that level. I'm pretty sure that what I just said is going to happen. The hard part is figuring out where the opportunity in that is, and that's why professionals like Paul and Carrie and their team exist, is, you really do need to understand the difference between, good management teams and bad management teams. You really need to understand the difference between real economic opportunity and false economic opportunity. You need to understand the difference between, lack of limits and limits in terms of growth and transformation. And you need to see things perhaps with a longer time horizon than a casual observer can. It does require a lot of knowledge and research to unpack and discover the economics of these far enough in advance to take advantage of them. So, it really is important to have a good black box or blue triangle or whatever. It looked like a triangle to me. But at the end of the day, this opportunity is quite real. If you look at the projections, reasonable projections, these are not sort of aspirational. These are normal average industry growth. This is displacement of the $1 trillion per year of investment that's going into conventional forms of energy and transmission and distribution, with $1 trillion or more a year of investments in clean energy. I mean, that's essentially what we have to get to. We have to stop investing in the stuff that we don't want more of, and we have to invest in the stuff that we want more of, and we probably will do that when the stuff that we want more of ends up being cheaper than the stuff that we don't want more of. But somewhere along the way, we have to go from investing only in this stuff to only in this stuff. That's trillions of dollars a year of economic opportunity. To get to those levels, we can actually put some time frames, and that's part of what the Institute tries to do, is to put some time frames and volumes and dollars and some parsing of which technologies will win and lose at a different level than perhaps making investment decisions on them. But what we've seen is that if you forecast this out and you go out to 2030, the top 20 companies in the United States, top 20 companies of global market cap will no longer be fossil fuel-based companies or people building engines to burn fossil fuels. They will be renewable energy companies. We forecast that you would need 12 companies by 2030, the size of GE today, in order to get to a middle-of-the-road forecast of the penetration of renewable energy technologies. I think what Paul and Carrie and the team are trying to find is which ones of those companies are going to be the GEs of tomorrow. They are there and they exist, and with a little bit of insight and research, they can be determined. So I wish all of you luck in the transformation, and certainly appreciate your attention tonight. I hope that we can all go down this path together and succeed together. Thank you very much.